Hey there, gang. Now, I know we're all just trying to be successful in our lives, but remember, success is like a wild horse. If you don't know how to handle it well, it will throw you off, and look for a rider that can handle it well. Let's play some head games. Friends, opponents, animal enthusiasts, and the animals that love them, why are you watching a YouTube video, horse? Go back to your paddock. Welcome to Head Games Arena. I'm Jetterx, and today we're horsing around. And of course, by that, I mean we are playing Guardian Sunmare. So this 5-mana horse mount from Aetherdrift has Ward 2, is a 5/5, and when it attacks, you search for a non-land permanent, mana value 3 or less, put it right onto the battlefield when it attacks while saddled, which we'll get back to in a moment. So what are we doing? We're playing Selesnya mounts and vehicles, and really the people that love them. So the game plan is play really good mounts and vehicles, play cards that interact well with those cards, and then get enough good support pieces to allow us to exist in this very, very aggressive and very hard to keep up with meta, especially in the best of one. So our mounts, we've got Seraphic Steed down here in the 2-drop spot, 2/2 first strike and lifelink. When mounted and attacking, it makes a 3/3 angel token. In the vehicles in the mid game, we've got Unidentified Hovership, which is a very fantastic removal spell in and of itself. And then absolute all-star of the deck is Lumbering Worldwagon, which digs out a land from your deck. When it enters or attacks, power is equal to the number of lands. This thing gets very big and continues to get bigger as the game goes on. It can be by itself a win condition. Fantastic card. And then here at the top end, of course, we've got the namesake of the deck, the Guardian Sunmare, which digs things that cost 3 or less out. To support our mounts and vehicles, we've got cards like Interface Ace, which saddles or mounts based on its toughness. So it's basically got the 4 number in its mounting and saddling ability, which means every single vehicle and mount can be activated with this creature, and it can activate 2 of them each turn, making it an absolute all-star in this deck. Stable Master is a mana dork that gives you 2 mana towards a mount or vehicle, so it allows you to get Sunmare out on 3 if you manage to cast it on 2 and it doesn't die, which happens. Believe me, it is actually very effective. We've also got Wylie Duke, which when it becomes tapped, you gain a life and draw a card. So this, and it's got 4 power, so this mounting or crewing a vehicle draws you a card, gains you a life, and really is just a cheap and efficient way to do that. Tristani, also a 3-drop 4/4, which changes combat when people are not paying attention to those activated abilities, and it happens. So read this card, folks. You should really pay attention to what it does. Last but definitely not least, Rip is a survivor that when he is tapped at the beginning of your second main phase, you look at the top X cards, where X is Rip's power at the time, any number of creature or vehicles with different powers into your hand. This deck plays vehicles, plays a fair amount of creatures. You're usually hitting at least one thing, sometimes 2 or 3. Rip can be a remarkable card draw engine under the right circumstances. In terms of support, we've got a standard removal package, about 7 pieces of direct interaction, 2 Get Lost, 2 Sheltered by Ghosts, which can be dug out with the Sunmare, 2 Unidentified Hoverships, also dug out with the Sunmare, and then 1 copy of Tranquil Throwback as our Swiss Army knife to deal with a lot of different situations. And then finally, Temporary Lockdown. This is a sneaky bit of tech that completely changes the game in certain circumstances. Yes, we have things that cost 2. Yes, there are moments where this card doesn't make sense, but I gotta tell you, when I've got a couple of 5/5 horses in play, Temporary Lockdown shuts everything else out, and it almost always ends the game. So that's the deck. It's an enormous amount of fun. I can't wait for y'all to see it. But before we go over to that horse track today, I want to remind everybody, please like, subscribe, leave some comments down below. Thank you very much for your time and your attention. Without further stalling for time, let's play some head games. Another ambitious player, Rakanitsu. Are you from Diablo? I know you. Okay, we are horsing around on the play with a Llanowar Elf. Not a turn 2 play, but if I can resolve Stable Master on 2 and have it stick, we get Sunmare on 3. So this is a pretty aggressive hand, depending on what we're playing against. Because landing this on 3 with other creatures on the board makes it very difficult to deal with. Double robot. Okay. Easy first turn Llanowar Elf. Black is not what we want to see. Easy first turn cut down. This is exactly the kind of deck I don't necessarily want to play against. I do... Okay, so... Stable Master. Crossing fingers for not another immediate removal spell. Tap land is good for us. Perfect. Okay. So, third land, Sunmare. Turn 3 Sunmare is pretty good. It's hard to have the right removal to deal with that. Okay. So they cut down the ramp. Okay, so from here, we're going to play Interface Ace. While we have priority, we will immediately saddle the Sunmare. And we will... I think we're going to grab Worldwagon. Wylie Duke would be an interesting hit as well, but we've got a Worldwagon in hand. Tricky. I feel like we need to draw cards and we need to get to lands. So, because I've got a Worldwagon in hand, I'm actually going to grab Wylie Duke. And we'll see what our opponent does. Entirely possible that they kill the Sunmare now. It's okay if they kill Wylie Duke. I don't love that, but only 3 mana for our opponent means they can probably only do one thing this turn. Okay. Okay. We're going to start with Worldwagon. Yeah, I thought that might happen. It's okay. Worldwagon fetches us a land. We will use the Interface Ace to horse around. Do we get Wylie Duke again? We could also get Tristani. Let's get Tristani this time. Okay. So we've got a removal in hand. Perfect. Oh, perfect. I think we just win from here. Yep. Unidentified hover shift for the scoop. So here's where Interface Ace shows its quality. Because it untaps, which means it can essentially crew more than one thing. Fetching out a land. Fetching out Wylie Duke. That's the game. Horse around. Rebrianu. Rebecca Rianu? Becky. I'm glad to meet you. Okay, so nothing on turn 1. Stable Master on 2 means if they don't kill the Stable Master, we get to horse around on 3 again. So... yeah, keepable hand. Start with our tap land. Alright. Stable Master on 2. What is our opponent doing? Scrap Gorger. Okay. Look at all the mana that our opponent has. Pretty great. We'll go ahead and play the basic and get Sunmare down. Now we've got a couple of great ways of mounting up Sunmare next turn. Okay, Terror of the Peaks is a significant threat, but we have an answer for it. 1 damage to us. Alright, land for us. Let's go with Rip. We will put Rip on top of the horse. We will bring it with the horse. And I think we grab Hover Ship. Take out the Terror. What I like about Hover Ship is they don't ever get it back. Blocks with an elf. It looks like our opponent had a pretty bad draw with all those mana dorks. Second Hover Ship now in hand. We can say go. They're still casting big creatures, but I'm digging out answers every time I attack with the Sunmare. So they've... Okay. I'm always curious to think, like, does this person think they're going to get the peaks back? Because that's not how that card works. It's why it's so good. Like, them getting to Manifest Dread here is not nearly as good as getting the Terror of the Peaks back. So, Unidentified Hover Ship as the removal spell for kind of mid-range creatures is super good for that reason. If you can get a 4 or 5 drop with it, you get all the value. So Scrap Gorger's nowhere close to getting its bonus, so I don't have to take that into consideration. Okay, it's a choice. It's not necessarily a great choice. So they've got lots of blockers now. So let's see. We can Wylie Duke. We're gonna put Wylie Duke on our Sunmare. Let's horse around a little. I see no reason not to play the land pre-combat. And then we're gonna go here and here. We're gonna dig out nothing because our opponent is done. Oh, it's the PC version of Jesus. What kind of standard are you bearing, though? Okay, on the draw, Elf on 1. If Elf lives, Worldwagon on 2. It's one of the strongest starts this deck can have. I don't love 2 lands, but I do have 2 mana dorks in hand, so keeping. Jesus PC plays mono red. No, Jesus PC plays a forest. Here's our Llanowar Elf. How do you feel about that? Are you going to play a swamp as your second land? Red Source, Scrap Gorger. Second time I've seen Scrap Gorger in as many games. Very interesting. Absolutely playing Lumbering Worldwagon here. We're going to get a Plains. And we're actually going to hope to draw a land, because Worldwagon gets bigger and bigger for the land, so you want to hit your land drops in addition to the ramp. Outcaster Trailblazer is solid. Do they have a follow-up? I'm going to guess they don't. So we are very likely taking out that Trailblazer. It is kind of a question of what do we draw. So I do have 2 spells this turn. So I've got Interface Ace. And I've got Get Lost. This may seem strange, but I promise that it's not. Because we really want to slow them from being able to get cards, to being able to draw cards. So we're going to crew up Worldwagon with Interface Ace. Right now we're just keeping up with our land hits, but I'm still okay with that. We'll get a forest this time. 4/4 coming in. This is why Worldwagon's so good. It's a ramp piece that turns into a threat. Okay. 5 mana for our opponent. Are we going to see the Terror of the Peaks again? I'm okay if we do, because we have the answer. And what's nice is we have an answer and we can do something else. Terror of the Peaks. Another very interesting 5-drop. What would be an interesting 5-drop? Wasn't counting on that. That's Yaris, Roar of the Old Gods. Other creatures I control have haste. Has some other face down stuff that may or may not be relevant. Ooh, our Scrap Gorger's hasty now. What are we doing? Are we nuking our own yard to activate a map token? Trying to hit their land drop, it looks like. Smuggler Surprise on the top. They're going to leave that on the top. Okay. Smuggler Surprise. Hexproof and indestructible. Okay, worth looking at. So, unfortunately for our opponent, we've got an unidentified hover ship to take out Yaris. And then probably Intrepid Stable Master. We'll play our tap land for turn. Activate Worldwagon again. Get in for 6. So unfortunately, we are actually out of removal now. So, like, their deck is all about playing threat after threat after threat. So if they play another threatening creature, we may actually be in a little bit of trouble. So, I'm not worried about Smuggler's Surprise. Trailblazer's fine as well. I don't love it, but it probably means they can't follow it up. They can cast the Smuggler's Surprise, but they just cast a Scrap Gorger instead. Okay. They are exiling a card from our graveyard now to pop the map token and see if they can hit their land drop. Yep. What do you got? Another Yaris. Okay. What's a good draw here? Another removal spell's obviously pretty good. Nope. Okay. This is not bad, though. We get to go Rip. We're gonna put Rip in the wagon. We're gonna put Interface Ace in the hover ship. Go to combat. Dig out yet another land. My guess is they will trade. They could chump. That's a good move for them as well. That's a good move for them. Keeping the Trailblazer is what they need to do because they need to be able to keep it on board to draw more cards. It's not a bad play for them. Rip on the second main gets me a Wylie Duke and another Lumbering Worldwagon. So now we were going to play the Steed, but now hold on. I can't do both. That's a little. I wish I could, because this gets you. It's fine. I don't need to play both. So we're the aggressor. The opponent's on the back foot here. They have plays, but are they going to be good enough? Here's their Terror of the Peaks. It's going to draw them a card. Okay, we need to set a stop on their end step. Okay. Yep. We're setting a stop on their end step so we can use Wylie, so we can tap Wylie Duke and get a draw trigger. Yep. Okay. So we force blocks here, is what we do. We play a Hushwood Verge. We crew. We crew. And we bring it with everybody. We'll dig out a land. If I'm not mistaken, I think we win. They have to block both, and I think there's still 8 getting through. How's your blocking math? It's very good. What you know about horses? Viato, the demon. of the ancient world. Okay. Elves on 1. I don't like that I don't have a follow-up to Elves on 1. I do have a removal spell. I'm not fond of this removal spell. I don't mind saying. I was very on the fence. A lot of builds of this deck play with this card, because digging it out with the horse is awesome. It, like, changes combat significantly. But having it to play on, like, your Llanowar Elves or your Interface Ace feels bad. Depends on what you're playing against, but this has 3 lands and stuff to do. I think it is good enough to keep. We'll see if I'm wrong about that. Okay, we have an exploration deck for our opponent. We will play the Razorverge Thicket and give ourselves the head start with Llanowar Elves, and then we'll see where we go from here. So our opponent's on black-green with an explore plan. So now they're on some kind of graveyard. They're a beans deck. Okay. They milled a beans. You can have the 1. My heart. That was a crucial draw. Razorverge Thicket, Lumbering Worldwagon. Now we're in business. We'll get a Plains first. I mean it. Now we're in business. Now I'm liking Sheltered with Ghosts because it can take out a Beanstalk, which is, you know, it's what our opponent wants right now. Molt Tender for our opponent. And a Souls of the Lost. They get in for 1. Okay. Do we get our tap land out of the way? So Rip Cruise the Wagon, but doesn't leave me enough mana to shelter with Ghost, and I need to shelter that Souls of the Lost. Yeah. Do I need to? Maybe I don't. Well, okay. The Worldwagon doesn't get through, so it gets to 4 and then to 5, so it can't tango with the Souls of the Lost. So I actually do need to remove that. Okay. We can play the Interface Ace. I think we're going to get the tap land out of the way this turn and play Sheltered by Ghosts on the Interface Ace. And we're going to take out the Souls of the Lost. We will crew and attack with the Worldwagon. Get us another land. We'll get a forest this time. Yeah. Okay. So if they have the removal spell that goes in that deck, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hollow Marauder. Yes, sir. I almost don't want them to draw a card, but I think I need I think I need the Rip. So now do they have the removal spell? That is fine. Okay. They didn't get a Beanstalk, which is what's keeping us in this game at this point. What are they going to get back? Souls of the Lost? Yeah. Okay. And what do they have to do to cast that? They have to discard a card or sacrifice a permanent. A couple of turns before the Baelmerk comes online. Yep. Okay. Alright. Rip. I gotta tell you, it's unfortunate because I actually think that I need to hold the other Sheltered by Ghosts for that other Soul of the Lost. So we're gonna let them trade the Marauder for the Worldwagon. We'll get a Plains this time. They'll take the trade. Yep. Rip's gonna get us a Sunmare and a Tristani. And then we're gonna say go. This is where Sheltered feels at least a little bit bad, right? So Sheltered on Rip. Take out the Souls of the Lost. And then I think we're just going to get in with Rip and see what happens. They're taking the 5 and letting me draw stuff. I will take all of those things. Okay, we'll play our land for turn and play the sun. Say, time to horse around, friends. Here we go. Oh, bad draw for our opponent. What is their last card? Hovership the Balemerc. Listen, I'm trying to be cautious here because I believe very wholeheartedly that there could be a blowout on our way. If they have the removal spell, if they have the exile target creature spell, there's a lot of things that could go wrong here. Okay, so I think we get Tranquil Frillback here. Oh my god, Tranquil Frillback is amazing here! Yeah, that's right. Zivik. Cat avatar. Let it be cats. I really want to see cat decks because I want to build one. So I can keep this hand, but before I do, for anybody who was confused about what happened in that last game, one of the ETBs, one of the enters the battlefield abilities, a Tranquil Thrillback, is exiling target player's graveyard. So not only was I going to blow up their Balemerc that hadn't become a creature yet, but I was also going to gain 4 life and I was going to exile their graveyard. That game is over. That's why that card is in there for graveyard decks. This is okay. We need to draw lands, but I do think that we can make this work. I have a very versatile removal spell. Our opponent is on that cat life, and they're playing Gruul? What is that? Razor Verge Thicket. We will play Seraphic Steed. Our first horse of the game. Swift Spear for our opponent. Are you gonna kill my horse? That is so rude. They killed my horse, y'all. Alright. Third land, Trustani, the 3 Whispers. So they're on a very, very streamlined aggro plan. High likelihood that they just nuke the blocker and get through every single time. Like, would be unsurprised if that happened 3 or 4 times. So last turn they got rid of my horse, which was good news for them. They did not attack. I don't hate that. So, high likelihood that they have interaction, like they have protection spells, etc. So, the safe play here is play another horse and pass. Interesting. Yep. I mean, it's good. Alright, so Monstrous Rage on the board. We've got a really cool trick here because our horse has first strike and Trustani can give it death touch. So I can block with the horse here pretty much no matter what. You got it. Just the Heartfire hero? Everybody. Oh, okay. Okay. So I think I am going to take all of these fantastic blocking opportunities. We're going to see what they do. So they... Okay. 4/4. So now I can just blow it up, right? Yeah, so now we're going to cast Get Lost. Go ahead, put your counter somewhere. This was really good for us. This was really good for us. Our opponent, like, they really allowed themselves to get into a bad attack here, and they're going to pay for it. So I would love... So let's get our land out of the way so we don't have to think about it. I would love to Karoo the Steed and get another attacker. I just don't think it's correct. We're going to put Sheltered by Ghosts on Tristani. We're going to get rid of the Heartfire hero. I think we're going to give both of our creatures Vigilance. And we're going to gain a bunch of life, which is the worst thing for our opponent. Listen, they can remove Tristani, but all they get back is that little 1/1, and I just don't care. Okay. Look at all this. Amazing. Yeah. Not drawing a land is not, or drawing a land is not my favorite, not my favorite thing here, because their deck is very explosive. So, I mean, I can... This is 4, right? That's right. So I can bring it and make them block poorly. I think that's what we do. Because they do have to block. Whoa, no blocks? You ought to read Tristani. Oh, friend. You got a lot of Gasticus? Gasticus. That's got to be right. Gasticus. All right, friends, we've got it. Elves into Worldwagon, into Rip. Let's go. Don't kill my elf, don't kill my elf, don't kill my elf, and don't cast duress. Okay. I'm really glad that they listened to us. That was very nice of them. Is this the mirror? I'm very curious to see what happens in the mirror. Plains first, activates all our verges. You can kill our elf now. I don't care about it as much. Don't kill our Worldwagon, though. That would be rude. What is our opponent doing? Kellen is very interesting. Haywire Might's very good for our opponent. Go ahead. That's quite good. Very good. Okay. Okay. Well, we did get a little ahead. Enough so that we can cast Rip. Cast another Llanowar Elf. And say go. So if they don't have an answer to Rip, we're going to start drawing additional cards. Bright Class Gear Hulk is super good. Kellen's an interesting addition to that. Okay, so another Haywire Might and a Twist and Turns for our opponent. Okay, we're going to play a Stable Master and say go. Ooh, this really turned on us. I was a little arrogant there at the beginning, having won a couple of games in a row, and Bright Glass definitely makes me second guess what I'm doing. Gaining life with Sanctifier, playing Twists and Turns. If a creature would explore, instead scry one, then explore. Okay. Making the Sanctifier bigger. That's interesting. So yeah, we need a removal spell. They'll keep that Gear Hulk on top. I don't know what's going on here. Please attack me? Okay. I guess I didn't really expect you to attack me. Okay. So... we're getting in. I mean, they can block the Restless Prairie for free here, but I really am trying to kill that Bright Glass Gear Hulk. Yeah, I want to kill the Gear Hulk. Yep. Second rip. Listen, that's cool. It's a very interesting choice, especially since, oh, man. Their toolbox deck is popping off, and ours is not. Alright, we are going to do it again. Because this way, they can't kill Rip. And if they want to double block my land, I'm okay with that. Next to damage, who do I take out? I really think I probably take out Kellen. I'm not so worried about this guy. Okay. Come on, Rip. Big hit. Okay. I'll take it. I'll take it. They're really incentivized to play that Haywire Might. They're gonna... and again, I'm hoping that they, the unidentified hover ship causes them to behave badly as well. It's happened a couple of times already today, so I'm really hoping the people not reading that card... because I'm okay with them getting rid of it. It's just not as big a deal as it seems. Enduring Innocence? Okay. That's getting the next hover ship. Haywire Might? Yep. Yep. Are you gonna do it now? You shouldn't do it now. See, I gotta tell you, like, I don't think that they should do it now. I don't think that that's the right move. Waiting until later allows them to get another trigger off of Enduring Innocence on my turn. They get a life, but I just don't think that that matters as much as they think it does, apparently. Okay. Hover ship. Take out the Enduring Innocence. Wylie Duke. We're gonna crew with Rip and assign no attacks. That's gonna give us another Rip. I get 3 cards for that. That feels good. Okay. Are they playing with board wipes? My guess is that they're not, right? Is there a benefit to me playing another Stable Master here? Let's say there is. I've already lost 2 of my creature lands, right? Just 1? Okay. That means I have more creature lands. We're going to set a stop on their end step so that we can crew our hover ship. Alright. Yep. They're going to blow up the hover ship again. We're actually going to take the card draw now. We don't need the stop anymore. Listen. Oh, it's a creature now. Oh, it's a creature now. Oh, wow. I did not do that on purpose. Lockdown is a blowout, I think. What else you got? Oh, lockdown is a blowout. Keep playing into it. How many Haywire Mites have we seen? 1, 2, 3. They may have a 4th Haywire Mite in their deck. And they've got the means to get it as well. So... I mean, I can't just straight up kill them next turn. Okay, great. Yep. Okay. I actually don't know. I'm trying to decide if it makes sense for me to use this mana. Ooh. Rip gets me Sunmare. Land for turn. We'll hold up a stop at the end. We knew what their top card was. They've got 2 blockers, but they're not necessarily great blockers. Yep. 2/2 and a 2/3. Crew on the end step to draw a card. Perfect. Oh, perfect. Who gets the shelter? Rip does, right? We're gonna get rid of the knight, actually. So they block Wylie Duke here. And I can crew and draw a card in response. Two more cards for us. Sunmare. Llanowar Elf. Pass turn. What do you got? Omen Path Journey doesn't do it. Oh, do you have a tab at Zanzibar tonight? Nobody gets that reference. If you get that reference, please leave a comment. Alright, we're on the play. Interface on 1. Hovership for removal. It's not like we're not going to town, but I think that we can work with this. Our opponent's got Atraxa sleeves. I don't love that. Let's see what they're up to. Domain. Black-green. Razor Verge Thicket. Interface Ace. Golgari for our opponent. Up the beanstalk. It's our first time seeing it today, and I am unhappy. Trostani on 3. This does not feel like an aggressive enough start. They're just going to kill Trostani. Like, there it is. Okay. They don't get to draw a card, but they're still off to a very good start. We will play our land for turn and get rid of the Beanstalk. And we will attack for 0 to send a message. Miss a land drop. It's a terrible thing to wish on someone. Dinosaur! What are you playing? You're playing Overlord of the Hauntwoods? Sure. Oh, bad draws for us. Do I just get in? I think I have to play Rip and hope that I can do something with it. That might not have been right. Because if I play the hover ship first, I can rip into... I can rip when the shields are down. Okay. So our opponent doesn't have any creature lands. It's very possible that they just kind of snipe us here. They don't have any flash creatures. They can probably just make a blocker. You know what? I'm not going to activate the creature land because I don't have to. And if I draw something interesting with Rip, which they're probably not going to let me attack with them. If I draw something interesting with Rip, which may or may not occur. Okay. Interesting. What a creative play from our opponents. Double, nowhere to run. Could they have made a... They could have made a fish there and killed Rip. I mean, I guess we'll play our cards. Ooh, another land for us. We're doing great. Now we're going to attack with the Restless Prairie. Go ahead. Go ahead. Use your demolition field. We'll get a forest out of our deck. And we will say go. Our opponent has control of this game. Like, they're playing an attrition-based game, and they're winning. Like, they've got the mid-range strategy. Wow. It's always fascinating to see, like, a mid-range strategy. You know, and frankly, ours is doing that. It's no question. Okay. Hover ship. Get rid of the Overlord. And say go. This is a nail biter. This just got like way worse. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty solid. Yep. Very good for them. Yep. Ooh. We have flooded out, and our opponent has just dealt with everything that we have done. We actually also haven't done that much. Like, our opponent has done a lot. They have taken a lot of game actions, and we really have not. Yeah, good game. Yucks. The Brilliant indicates a blue player. Oh, what a terrible hand. Okay, somewhat better. I am on the draw with a very suspect hand. Frillback actually... I don't want to pin Rip here, but I think it's right. Okay. Force for our opponent. They're on the Llanowar Elf plan. We're not going to get there. Bristly Bill for our opponent. Land gets Bill makes Bill a 3/3. What else we got? Nothing for now? Okay. Interesting. Okay. Options, Seraphic Steed, Intrepid Stablemaster. I'm really tempted to play the Stablemaster because it can allow me to play Lumbering Worldwagon and Sheltered by Ghost next turn, or Lumbering Worldwagon and Seraphic Steed. I think this is right. They appear to be doing mono green stuff, so unlikely that they're gonna play... I mean, they'll have interaction, but it's different. Okay. Yep. Okay, they missed the land drop. That feels very good for us. Okay. Here's our land for turn. We're gonna play Lumbering Worldwagon. Get a Plains out of our deck. And we're gonna slow down Old Bristly Bill. We've got Seraphic Steed and Interface Ace next turn if our opponent can't get out from under their mana screw. Looks like they did not draw a land. Or they're playing very, very thoughtfully. Oh, come on, opponent. Don't time out. Well, while we wait for our opponent to figure out what they're going to do, let's talk a little bit about mental health. Oh, they're there. They're touching their stuff. Interesting. Goldvein Hydra's a solid get. Okay. So if Goldvein Hydra dies, they end up with a lot of mana. So the problem with that, obviously, is that that puts them up to 7 mana next turn. What could they possibly play with 7 mana? Like, I have to attack through the Goldvein Hydra. I do. So it's really a question. It's not a question of whether or not I do that. It is a question of what do they play with that 7 mana. Alright, we're going to put Interface Ace and Seraphic Steed in play. We are going to crew up the Worldwagon. And we are going to bring it in and let them block with the Hydra. We will get another Plains. Yeah. Okay. 3 treasures for our opponent. Let's go. What can you do with all that mana, opponent? They've been missing land drops, so getting that bump of 3 mana is pretty clutch for them. Pelucranos and Fight Spell. Fight Spell would be very good. So what do I need? I need more removal. Okay. Very interesting. Okay. Get Lost is a hot draw. It really is. Get Lost is a hot draw. Alright, I don't think I'm gonna attack with Seraphic Steed. I don't think there's a benefit to it. So what I am gonna do is I'm gonna get in with the Worldwagon. We're gonna get yet another land out of our deck. And we're gonna see if our opponent takes the bait. So then other play that we have this turn is we can cast Tranquil Frill back, gain some life back, exile their graveyard, and take out that Overlord before it becomes a creature. Just taking the 6, huh? Okay. So unfortunately, casting the Frill back... Actually, I can do this next turn. Yep. I don't need to do any of that. Maybe I cast the other Worldwagon? Yes. Let's do that. More lands. Okay. So I think they're going to try to flip the Polukranos, which is why I made the choices that I made. If they put the mana into flipping Polukranos, I can cast Get Lost in response. 7. They may then be able to protect it, because the high likelihood they are playing protection spells. So here's the thing. I can absolutely activate both of my Worldwagons with that one interface ace, which is why it deserves its spot in the deck. I understand why our opponent's in the tank here. Like, this is... Ooh. Okay, 4-5. Now the question is, do they get in with Polukranos? Please do. Please attack me. I'm here for it. I'm fully okay with you attacking me with Polukranos. Dang. Oh, good on their part. Okay. Okay. Alright, we've got all the lands in the world. So do we just lumber... I actually think I'm out of basics. I think there's only one basic left in the deck at this point. Maybe there are two, but I don't think so. Yeah, let's get the frill back. We're gonna pay twice. We're gonna gain 4 and destroy the Overlord. They do not seem to have any interaction. Okay. So... Boy, I really wish... Okay, we're just gonna activate both Lumbering Worldwagons. And we're gonna get in. Yep. Last 2 basics. Yep. Yeah. Lots more treasures for our opponent. I'm really curious to see what they're going to be able to do with this amount of... Yeah, that's it. Say go. Ugh. This is a nail biter. They have all the mana in the world. 4 cards in hand. If they try to flip Pelucranos, we 100% get lost. Let's see if you got it. That's it! All right. Horse friends, how did we do today? Well, you saw it. We won a bunch of games. This was an enormous amount of fun. I am a horse enthusiast in my real life, so it was an enormous amount of joy for me to play a deck centered around horses that performed so well today, where we had so many opportunities to kind of take big swings and have fun things happen. I thought we had a lot of great games today. Overall, Selesnya mounts and vehicles, I think it's got legs, and I don't mean that to be a pun. I think that it definitely is a little bit more competitive than I expected it to be. Now, there's going to be decks where if you're playing against a dedicated removal deck and it just blows up everything that you cast, you're probably going to have a hard time with that. Although, who I believe to be the all-star Lumbering Worldwagon, if they're not countering that spell, it's a little tricky to deal with. It's an artifact. A lot of the other creatures in the deck can crew it. So it's probably getting swings in, and it's got a big old body when you start getting lands out there. So this deck can play on a couple of different axes, so I do think that it's a contender. Lumbering Worldwagon, absolute all-star. Guardian Sunmare is actually a really strong card. It seems like a draft card. It's probably in paper like a quarter. It's a very cheap card, but I gotta say, I really saw this do some pretty remarkable things, as well as Rip. Rip is something like it's a draft rare that you don't necessarily see in competitive play or in best of one meta, but I think it's really great here. It drew me so many cards in today's videos, so I think that this card deserves a little bit more credit than it maybe deserves. Unidentified Hovership was a really great removal spell, and this one of Temporary Lockdown, it is so satisfying when you dig that out of the deck or even just play it, because I think opponents really aren't expecting it. The other toolbox pieces like Tranquil Frillback, I thought that this was a good choice too, just as a one of, and because, one copy of this in the deck in the best of one meta feels like you have an out, but having a card that digs for it means you're going to be more likely to get that out. So all in all, Selesnya mounts and vehicles, super fun deck to pilot. Super fun deck to play. I had a really, really great time recording these videos today. I hope y'all enjoyed it as much as I do. So with that, I'll say, please remember, like, subscribe, leave comments, tell your friends about Head Games. We appreciate your time and your attention. I'd like to leave you with this. Remember, you gotta brush your horse, right? You gotta take care of their teeth, and for yourself, please. Just take care of your head.